Today we will present taxation trends in Sri Lanka. Group number 4. Introduction. Tax is a fee charged by individual or organization to collect revenue by the government of a country. This is the main source of government. Purpose of taxation. Main purpose is increase the revenue for service and obtaining funds for government expenditure. Another ones are protect local industries, increasing productivity. Classes of taxation. Tax structure can be divided into two categories. These are direct and indirect tax. Example of the direct tax are income tax, corporate tax. Indirect taxes are sales tax and VAT. Principles of taxation. These are clearly economic efficiency and stability. The composition of tax system in Sri Lanka. Taxation in Sri Lanka specially consists of excise duty, income tax, VAT, import tax and others. The authorities of Sri Lanka impose taxes specially of sort inside the type of direct taxes and indirect taxes. As of 2020 CBSL report, 89% government revenue depend on taxes and the remaining 11% is non-tax revenue. By 2020, 20% of the government's total tax revenue contributes to income tax and 8% of the total tax revenue of the government will contribute to import duties. 17% of the total tax revenue of the government was contribute to VAT. 24% of the total tax revenue of the government was contribute to excise duty. Importance and issues of taxation in Sri Lanka. Taxation is very important to the country because 89% of the government revenue generate because of the tax income. Simply, taxation means that every country, government in the world, they impose the tax on company, individuals or organization. The modern society, taxes are very important method of government revenue. We can see different kind of purpose and importance of the taxation. We can see different kind of importance of the taxation in Sri Lanka. They are fiscal defects. So, they can use the tax revenue from the social and public services. It is another important factors of taxation because social economic service is very important from the country. So, government can spend more money for the social and economic services. So, the government can reduce the social illegal things because they impose the tax on drug liquors. Issues of taxation. We can see basic problem in tax system in Sri Lanka. Low level of tax ratio, slow structural change of the tax composition, low efficiency and productivity in VAT. So, we can say different kind of important and issues of the taxation of Sri Lanka. Tax cut and tax rates. So, we can in different time period Sri Lanka change the tax rates. So, we can see VAT and NBT tax different rate in different time periods. In this tax cuts and reduces helps to stakeholders, public and different kind of businesses. Current trends of taxation. Taxation changes. VAT rate changes time to time. Example, year 2016, VAT rate changed 2 times. In 2019, VAT rate changed. Main policy changes in the taxation year 2020. Increase of registrations of value added tax from 3 million per quarter or 12 million per annum to 75 million per quarter. Granting permissions for voluntary registrations for VAT upon written request from a person who carries out a taxable activities, even if such person is not within the organization, increase effect from 2020 January 1st. Introductions of new technologies to administer the taxes more effectively. Introductions of digital payment method to the taxpayer. Introductions of mechanism to improve the transparency of the tax system. A computerized systems that connect governments, organization, charities and other organizations which would ensure the taxpayers would not be able to provide incorrect information, evade taxes and avoid taxes. Removal of taxes. Economic service charge was removed with effect from 2020 January 1st. Debt payment level was removed with effect from 2020 January 1st. Declining trends of tax revenue in Sri Lanka or gross domestic product ratio. In developing countries, there are problems of taxations from past few years. In Sri Lanka, tax-based factors can affect to firms operating in corporate profitability. So, declining these tax revenue can be happen because of reductions of corporate tax rate. There are some reasons for that. When average effective corporate tax has decreased over time, reduction in stationary rate and changes can happen the tax. We can see Sri Lanka overall gross domestic product and as per capital income increases over the past years, but the total government revenue and total tax revenue are decreased. Then we can see relationship between these three. When talking the debt crisis, this day it was the biggest problem to whole the country. According to current situation, Sri Lanka government debt increased to 70 millions in 2021 from 60 millions in 2020. Based on the latest national income estimates debt data, Sri Lanka government debt has increased from 101% in December 2020 to 104% in June 2021. Foreign debt in rupee terms increased from 6 million to 6.63 million. Foreign debt raise increase debt doesn't take into the account. Debt to GDP has increased from 72% in 2014 to 86.8% by 2019. Reasons for declining. Large-scale tax evasions. Some professionals, lawyers, doctors, accountants hide their real income. Sometimes they pay small portions of their total income and pay a less tax, while others are completely evaded taxes. Weaknesses in the tax administration. Sri Lanka lost around 300 million rupees a day due to such illegal activities. The Presidential Tax Commission should closely monitor such fundamental incidents and take appropriate actions. Narrow tax base and coverage. Sri Lanka government tax revenue heavily depend on indirect taxes. There should be fair balance between direct taxes and indirect taxes. But in Sri Lanka's tax revenue depend on approximately 80% tax revenue come from indirect taxes and the remaining 20% depends on taxes. Recommendations for the tax. First one is removal of registration fee when starting a business. The fee charged when a person registers to start a new business is removed. Second point is increases tax on harmful things. It is proposed to increase the duty on cigarettes and alcohol by 5 rupees. Another one is exemption for the tax on surgical and dental equipment related to import or supply of good. Fourth one is introductions of a 2.5% social security contributions on annual turnover exceeding 120 million rupees. Final point is GST tax is expected to be implemented. This applies to telecommunications, motor vehicles, cigarettes, liquor, betting and gambling. Conclusion. Finally, as a conclude, the tax revenue is the main source of income in Sri Lanka. Taxation is non-refundable mandatory payments levied on individuals or corporations by the government. Taxation in Sri Lanka specially consists of excise duty, income tax, VAT, import tax and others. Compared to 2019 government tax revenue in 2020, the tax revenue in Sri Lanka, all the categories have declined, both in nominal terms and percentage of gross domestic product. Fiscal deficit is main problem for many countries including Sri Lanka. Firstly, Sri Lanka should carry out some researches and they try to find out actual problems of this whole tax system. This is the ending of our presentation. Thank you.